Welcome to Being Revealed with Stephanie and Alex. I'm Stephanie Cunningham.
And I'm Alex Holtzaffel. This episode is brought to you by Revelation U, Reiki and Wellbeing. Revelation U is on a mission to help millions of people understand who they are and how they work, so they can create a life that feels deeply satisfying.
We believe aligning your energy and elevating your consciousness is the ultimate form of personal and professional development. To support you on your path to a more connected life, we offer Reiki, spiritual life coaching, live and online courses, and corporate wellness programs.
Each offering is designed to help you get reacquainted with yourself and inspire you to create a life that feels exactly the way you want it to. Continue your journey at revelationu.com. That's REVELATIONU.com.
Happy December.
Happy December to you.
Yeah, It's my favorite time of year.
you hate December?
Well,
you hate Christmas?
I do. I hope I don't get a lot of backlash for that, but
I'm sure you're not the only one.
No, I'm sure not. Which I think what we're going to talk about today can really help all of us who struggle in December for varying reasons make it through, right? And hopefully carry into the new year as well. Yeah. So today we're going to talk about mindfulness.
So what is mindfulness?
Mindfulness is really just being in the present moment, awareness of the present moment. So noticing what is happening around you, how you feel, why you feel the way you do, without like going into, we're not trying to analyze, but say, oh, I feel cold. Just noticing everything around you. One of the things with mindfulness is it really helps you get in touch with your body and your senses. So what's going on around you, you have that external feeling of what's going on around you, but then you have taste, smell, touch, sight, sound, just noticing all the different things that are around you.
So kind of like self-awareness in the moment, but not just emotional or spiritual, just everything.
Yeah, just awareness in the moment. It can be of self, it can be the environment that you're in.
Well, it's important, to be able to recognize when you might be feeling different or feeling off or, It's obviously the physical stuff, like you mentioned, being cold and that's obvious. But then the emotional stuff, sometimes we don't recognize, and then it snowballs and, sometimes gets out of control because we don't recognize things that were happening days, weeks, months before.
So when you think of mindfulness, what do you think of before we just kind of went into that little definition?
Well,
or is it one of those terms it's like you feel like you should know what it is, but you don't really know what it is?
Well, yeah, at first I didn't really, because I had to ask you what is it, but being aware in the moment, in the now. I also think about being aware of my surroundings, what's going on around me, and it not just about how I'm feeling, but how are other people feeling. I'm not always selfless, but I do like to think I kind of think about other people's feelings and emotions quite a bit. So if I can pick up that someone's feeling off or see that someone's struggling, then maybe I can be there to help them. Would you say that that's mindfulness?
No.
Or no? You don't think so?
No, I think because you're
concerned with other people's stuff.
Right.
Okay.
So mindfulness is really just noticing.
Okay.
Noticing from a place of what I like to call loving detachment. Right? So there's no judgment. There's no should I, shouldn't I? There's no, oh my gosh, I'm cold, I need to get a blanket. It's just the noticing.
So there's no action involved?
No action is involved. It's just the noticing. So in a mindful meditation, you can think of like a body scan meditation as a mindful meditation because you're scanning the body and you're just simply noticing what's going on, right? You can take it one step further and allow the muscles to soften or invite it to release, things of that nature. But, just that act of scanning and noticing what your body's feeling is a mindful practice.
Okay.
You can be mindful when you're washing dishes.
And how so?
You're like, wait a minute. He does a lot of washing dishes, I will say.
I do.
So you're washing the dishes, and you're just to mindfully wash the dishes. So you pick up the glass and you put the rag in the soapy water, and you pick it up, and you just notice that you're really paying attention to kind of what you're doing, right? You're washing the glass, and you're not thinking about all those other things that might be going through your head. Like usually we do that when we're washing dishes, right? We're not like, I'm washing the glass and I'm having the soap on it and I'm getting off this spot. A lot of times we're outside of the moment.
Yeah, we're thinking about a million different things while doing a task.
Right. So that would be a mindful practice of mindfully washing the dishes, rinsing it off, putting it over here, grabbing the next thing, rinsing out the bowl, wiping something off, just like noticing, being fully present with what you're doing.
Being fully, it makes me think of being focused too. Present, but in focused.
Yeah. So so when you say present and focus, what do you see as the differences between those two words? Or do you feel like they're the same?
Well, no, they're not. I wouldn't say they're the same. Because I can be present, but if you're sitting here talking to me and I see your lips moving, but I'm not, like, I'm thinking about something else.
Well, then that's not presence.
Well, that's true too. Yeah. So would you think present and focus is similar, or?
I mean, I guess you could think of it that way.
Or maybe mind and body, or mind and spirit.
Just fully present in the moment. So when you're fully present in the moment, I guess you could say, yeah, you're focused on that moment. I think sometimes we can be too focused though. So I think that's why I was like, oh, what do you mean by that? Because when I think of present, I think of present in the moment, noticing what's going on, noticing the moment, really listening, experience. That's great. That's a perfect word.
Like experiencing the moment.
Yeah. I think that's a perfect word. I love that. When I think of focused, it makes me feel stressed.
Okay.
Like if I'm super focused on something, then it's like my attention is outside the present.
It's like you're not experiencing it. I see what you're saying. You're thinking like maybe you have a task you have to get done, so you're super focused on it and like driven. Yeah. The
intention isn't on the moment, it's on the task.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I love that experience. And you could say focus, and that could mean experience for you. Just for me, that's what came up for me when you mentioned the word focus.
Well, depending, what kind of work you do. Like, I can understand what you're saying, because to you, focus might be like, I got to get this done, and but you're not really experiencing it. You're just going through the motions to complete a task. Right.
For sure. Mindfulness, like wellness from years ago, I feel like is one of those words that everybody feels like they should know what it is, but they may not want to get asked and have to answer it in public. You know what I mean? So it's like we have an idea, but we've never maybe got the definition of it.
Well, yeah, because you see the word thrown around. I think Fitbit had they added a health wellness category, and I think it was called mindfulness.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
But so yeah, it's like, what exactly is it? And it sounds like it kind of blends in there with self-awareness too, but it's more about like right now.
Right. So mindfulness meditation then is just being aware of the present moment, right? And I guess anytime you're really mindful, it is kind of a small little meditation. So whether you're washing the dishes or you're walking in nature or you're doing a body scan, you can do a mindfulness meditation that's expanded, and you have music, and maybe it might feel more like a practice than just washing the dishes feeling like a meditation. But really anything could be a meditation as long as you're pulling your presence into the moment.
Well, that's interesting, because how often, you talk like taking a walk in nature, like, I'll take our dog for a walk and I never really stop to think of all the stuff that's around me.
Yeah.
It just becomes like routine, or you just
Mm-hmm.
don't think about what's around you.
Mm-hmm.
So stopping and appreciating and looking and observing,
Mm-hmm.
and can really pull things together.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be a great way
Mm-hmm.
to do it as well, especially when he's walking nicely on the leash.
And you can stop and look.
And you can stop. That's a great mindfulness moving meditation. Yeah. You're just walking and you notice how the air feels on your face. Is it warm? Is it cool? Is it misting? Like today we were walking and it was misting. Mm-hmm. What are the smells? I noticed the smells. Sounds kind of. I was gonna say I noticed the smells at the dog park. Well, obviously.
Yeah.
But over the last couple of weeks, there's been this weird smell, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And one of the guys at the dog park, I was like, "What is that smell?" He said, "It's the mulch back there." Mm. Yes, it's mulch. That's what it smelled like. It smelled like mulch. So, like, noticing the smells and noticing the sounds. Like, are there birds chirping? Are there not? Like this morning when we went for a walk, it was really quiet out in on the park. It was so quiet. I wouldn't say that I was super present in the moment, but I did notice that it was really quiet. Yeah, because silence is one of my favorite sounds.
Does it happen too often?
Yeah, I do. I love silence. You like music, and I wonder if silence is a form of music for me.
It could be, yeah.
I don't know, yeah. Because there's always a frequency, whether or not you can hear it.
Yeah.
Audibly.
When I think of silence, I think of meditation, so maybe that's why.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why it's hard for people to enjoy silence or sit in silence. Especially in today's world where we always have something, we got music, we got noise, we got TV, It's always something.
Or were you going to say something?
Well, I was going to ask about why be mindful, but what were you going to say?
Well, that's a good question. Why be
mindful? Why bother, or why? We have self-awareness, but like, what does mindfulness do for you? Does it just help you spiritually? Does it help you be more aware? Is it like is it the practice of awareness in a sense, or? Like,
yeah. Well, what do you think of when you?
Well, I guess I kind of answered my question. I think it's a practice of awareness, and when you practice something, then you become better at it. And then I think being mindful can help you grow as a person and help you be more appreciative of the things around you, or the process of things, or you can really pick up when things are off with yourself, or maybe when you're doing really good.
Yeah. And
it's not all just negative and self-improvement. A lot of it too is like noticing, like, hey, I've been like feeling really good. So. Yeah,
that's a great point. Because so many times when we talk about, development, self-development, and noticing what's going on, is it good or is it bad? But noticing all those good things too is super important.
It is,
right? It goes back to what you were talking about a couple episodes ago with affirmations.
Yeah.
Noticing, wow, I'm doing a really good job, or I've created something pretty cool. And I'm proud of myself for doing that, or some other thing, whatever goal you achieved. It could be anything.
Yeah, or just looking around you and being like, I wouldn't have been here if I didn't work hard, And those things do, we spend a lot of time like dissecting ourselves, but when we stop and look at the good, that I think that really enlightens ourselves as well, subconsciously. Absolutely. And this is one of the hardest things, probably. It's so easy to dissect ourselves and be negative.
Yeah. So I think the goal of mindfulness is really just to practice being present in the moment.
Yeah.
Right? So we tend to get pulled into the past or pulled into the future, right? Whether we're thinking about, doesn't really matter, personally or professionally.
Or it can be the past could be regret, the future could be worry, and then go ahead.
Right. But when we practice mindfulness and we cultivate that skill of being present, we release ourselves from those feelings of regret and from those feelings of anxiety. Is it going to be completely gone? Maybe if you're a monk. that could happen. But it's a skill. It's a practice, right? The practice of mindfulness, the practice of meditation, just like the practice of yoga. You're practicing continuously. And some days you're going to be really good at it, and some days you might not be so good at it. But, noticing that too, that maybe I need to do this at a different time, or I'm kind of amped up right now. So, I can breathe, and that'll help me and getting back into that present moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe getting into that state of mindful meditation at that period of time might be a little too much for that moment. Yeah, I think just practicing being in that moment, being in the moment, because really, I know we hear it a lot. We hear gurus say it. We hear religious leaders say it. Life is happening right now in the present moment. And if you do think about that and you do contemplate it, it is true.
Mm-hmm.
This moment right here is the most important moment. It's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's
the only thing you have the ability to really do anything.
Absolutely.
Or control, if you have any control at all. But,
right.
So it's about being grounded, you could say.
Yeah, grounded, centered. Mm-hmm. And then as you're really cultivating that feeling of presence, or that skill of presence, and being in the moment, being aware of the moment, however it exists, that is going to offer, and I can speak from experience, it's going to offer spiritual enhancements. Mm-hmm. It's going to offer physical benefits. It helps bring that to the forefront of your mind throughout the day, so that you can maybe make different choices.
Well, meditation itself, I think people struggle with. I know when I was in AA, the 11th step is meditation, and that was one of the most discussed things because people don't understand meditation, or so it might be at first be hard to get to that point to where you can do a body scan or whatever, Whenever I meditated, I sat as quiet as possible and tried not to think of anything, and just tried to feel the moment. Would that be mindfulness, is trying to feel the moment and feel now and just let it run through me? Or is that more just meditation?
Well, I think that is a mindfulness meditation. Yeah, I really do, because you're noticing how you're feeling, right? And you're probably at first, you're noticing that you're feeling, right when you drop into meditation, or right when you sit, right? It's probably not going to feel the same way it feels in 5 minutes as it does.
It always starts off with anxiety because you're trying to get yourself to be quiet internally. And that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Is trying to shut off internally and let everything just flow through you.
Mm-hmm. When you are sitting in meditation, this is a great time to talk about this. There are different things that you can do to be successful. I think the first thing is to just give yourself some grace and know that meditation isn't about not having thoughts, right? You're a human. You have a brain. That's what the brain does. Mm-hmm. It just thinks. Yeah. It does stuff. It works. So that's good. That's a noticing that, I'm alive. My brain is working. I'm human. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So the goal of meditation isn't to stop having thoughts. It's to change your relationship to the thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So if a thought comes up, it's not about judgment. It's not about get away. You're not supposed to be doing this. I'm in meditation right now. I don't need you here. And then pushing back on it. Mm-hmm. It's about noticing the thought, like in mindfulness, noticing the thought, allowing it to pass.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's one quote that I love. It's from Andy Puddicombe. He's the co-founder of Headspace, which is a meditation app. Mm-hmm. And he says, there's no right or wrong meditation. There's simply awareness or not awareness, which is just, it's such a graceful way to think about meditation, right? There's not a right or wrong way to do it. So when you're sitting there, breathing, right? You said that you breathe and you just start connecting with yourself and connecting with the moment. Mm-hmm. So you're connecting with the present moment is what you're doing in that meditation. And this is just general meditation. There's lots of different types of meditation. Yeah. Mindfulness meditation, I guess we'll call this. So if thoughts start coming up, again, this is about changing your relationship to them, not trying to not think about things, but just be open to whatever happens and just not having any judgment and just letting it go. And start breathing, start feeling your breath, start noticing your breath, feeling the way it feels when it's going down your windpipe, going into the abdomen, going into the chest, and then coming back up.
Yeah.
So just noticing those things, that's going to drop you down into the meditation. It's going to calm the nervous system. It's going to make the body feel light. It's going to really pull you into that present moment. Another thing that I always tell people to do when they're trying to meditate and they're trying to figure it out is to match up your energetic state with meditation. So we all have a natural circadian rhythm throughout the day. So you might wake up and you're really energized, and that's when you feel like getting all your tasks done. There might be a time where you feel
That's not me.
There might be a time where you feel more creative. There might be a time where you feel more contemplative, especially when you're getting started, because you want to feel successful with meditation, right? If you're trying to start, a meditative practice, a consistent one. Try to match up your meditation time with that time of day where you're naturally more contemplative, naturally kind of at a lower energetic state. Many times I wake up with anxiety. So that's not a great time to meditate because I'm going to work against my natural state.
Okay, that makes sense.
And some people think, oh, that's a great time to meditate when you're feeling anxious. It's a great time to be mindful.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily a great time to sit in meditation. So what's the difference? What do I mean by that? It's a great time to be mindful if you're feeling anxious. Starting to breathe, noticing your breath go through your nose. How does that feel? Noticing it going down into the windpipe, expanding, noticing it coming back out, pulling your entire presence into the moment. You've had that experience recently, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've had some anxiety come up and I've had to work on just deep breathing and some positive affirmation. But I can understand how meditating with the anxiety would not be, because you're not really trying to fix the anxiety with the meditating, so.
Well, that's what people think that they're trying. They're like, oh, I'm going to fix it with meditation. Well, you can fix it with mindfulness because anxiety is about future.
Yeah.
Pulling yourself into that present moment, noticing your skin, noticing the breath, noticing where you are, noticing your environment.
I found the positive affirmation to help out a lot, because I think a lot of anxiety is just unreasonable fear or unknown fear for whatever reason. Your mind and your body is in fear of something. So you must have to take a step back and tell yourself that everything's all right. So that's what I was going to ask you about, with mindfulness. Say I'm sitting around and I'm getting anxiety and I'm worrying about the future. How do I start mindfulness to get me back in the present? Do I just stop and do what you just said? Or do I kind of stop and say I'm here, this is what's going on around me. I don't need to worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. Is that a practice of mindfulness to help with that? Or...
So I would say not thinking of it as you're telling yourself what's going on.
Yeah.
It's more than noticing.
Okay.
You're looking at me like you don't. So the noticing is just, I'm starting to feel anxious, right? And so I just stop, and you might want to turn off the TV or turn off any noise and just sit and just start breathing, noticing the breath. Noticing I'm here, noticing I'm safe, noticing I'm not in pain, noticing just exactly where you are. I'm warm. It's the noticing rather than saying, Alex, you're fine.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So
yeah,
Alex,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So rather than telling yourself, it's more about actually using your senses.
Experiencing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, going back to your perfect word of experiencing. Yeah, so it's more about just experiencing the moment of feeling the breath, experiencing the moment of being safe in your environment, whatever
rather
it
than
is.
just telling yourself.
Instead of telling yourself.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
And that's mindfulness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so easy, right?
Well, yeah, that's if you it's easy, and the hard part's actually doing it.
Yes.
And that's how it is with anything. Because it's like if you're in pain or struggling, and it's like no matter how easy it is, do we ever stop and like do that? I mean,
so here's how to make it easier. This is an offering, I guess, for everybody going through the favorite month of December. My favorite month of December.
We didn't really get to talk about that. Hey, it's
no,
okay.
I mean, but this is a perfect time to talk about it. Mindfulness gets easier, just like anything else, when you make it a habit, right? When it's consistent. There are a couple things that you can do to make it a habit. Think of it as a ritual. Think of it as prayer. Think of it as a devotion. Think of it as whatever it is that you want to think of it as, right? Or just setting aside time for yourself.
Yeah.
So a few things that you can do to help make mindfulness something that is part of your daily routine. You get up in the morning and you can start a ritual every day. You get up in the morning. Maybe you spend 5 minutes. Maybe you spend 30 minutes, depending on how intense you want your practice to be. You can...
Let's say start off small, but...
I agree. Yeah, I would definitely start off small.
5 minutes.
Yeah, just wake up and think about how you're feeling, right? Again, you're in your bed, you're alive, you're safe. Noticing those things, what you have going on, setting the intention for the day. You can do that. If you want to go deeper into that practice and you feel like this is a good time to do it, meditation, going into a meditation, maybe going into journaling. Again, you can make it whatever it is that you want. Another thing that you can do, taking little breaks throughout the day to just simply be in the moment and breathe. Again, it can be 5 minutes. It can be 2 minutes. It can be 2 minutes. It can be 5 minutes. It can
hitting the reboot button.
Right, right. And I think that is a great thing for the holidays. We have different things that pop up in the holidays. Expectations is a huge one for me that pops up. So I do practice a lot of mindfulness during December and recognizing that I don't have to do this stuff. I don't have to put up all the decorations. I don't have to spend $2,000 on Christmas. I don't have to do whatever it is, and just pulling back into the moment saying, this is what feels good for me. Where am I? What am I feeling? Pulling back in and just kind of resetting myself.
Yeah.
You mentioned
just like being in the gathering of all the family or having to travel here, travel there, just to, I feel like it really pulls you spread yourself thin.
Yeah.
And then also, social, like you can get social anxiety and being in a crowd of people and not really knowing how to act, that stuff. Or say if you're like newly sober, trying not to drink, the holiday's full of alcohol too. There's all kinds of stuff, like that.
Those are all good examples of times when you can just walk away. You can even just go to the bathroom or walk outside, just take a few deep breaths.
Yeah. A lot of people have trouble being around family because it just,
Yeah.
Sometimes our families are the people that trigger us the most, and we don't spend much time with them. And I don't necessarily have that, but I know of people that have had that experience,
Or people talking about your holy sweater and that you should just get rid of it. And it's like
over and over.
Yeah.
All
like,
your holy sweaters.
Whoa. My holy sweater is none of your business. So thank you very much. I am not triggered. So there's that. There's actually sitting in a longer meditation that can also be a ritual. And there can be the ritual instead of or in addition to doing a morning ritual, you can do a bedtime ritual.
Yeah.
Some people prefer to do something like that. You might prefer to do something like that in the evening versus in the morning when you wake up.
Well, and there was always the term like emotional hangover. If you go to bed like emotionally a mess or just not right, then you wake up feeling, worse or the same way. So sometimes it is good to check yourself at night.
Yeah.
When you lay down or, or hour before, just to make sure you're in a good space. There's nothing worse than going to bed angry or upset or
Yeah. And, you can, a couple of things there. You can make it whatever you want it to be. It can be as short as you want. It can be as long as you want, right? But incorporating things like noticing all the good things that happen during the day.
Yeah.
Even noticing where there were challenges. But you're not going into it, right? You're just noticing. You can journal. You can do more meditation. You can end your day with a prayer. That might be part of your ritual.
Yeah.
And it could be a religious prayer, or it could be just a prayer of,
It could be gratitude.
Right.
Ending with gratitude,
Yeah. So those are some things that you can incorporate, say, for the month of December only.
Yeah.
Or for, every month of the year.
Yeah.
Just to really increase your mindfulness. And I will tell you, and you can probably attest to this too, when you make it a consistent practice, everything just feels different.
It does, but it's hard. And I think, the thing, if you really want to do something like that and do daily stuff like this, you really can't beat yourself up if you start to miss.
Right.
You just.
Right. You just start again. You start in that moment.
Yeah. Because it's hard to do anything every day. Let's face it. I mean.
It is. Really, the biggest thing is setting the intention.
Yeah.
So even if you set it, if it feels too much to commit to doing something every day or 3 times a week, or if it feels too intense, then just simply setting the intention of, I'm going to be more mindful, or, just kind of setting that intention of, I want to be more mindful. I am more mindful. Or when you notice that you're kind of spiraling off in a different direction, it's in your purview, right? Mindfulness is in your purview. You can just pull it back in.
Yeah.
And say, not doing that right now.
And it doesn't have to be like a huge 10-minute reflection. It can be a quick spot check when you wake up and have your coffee. Then maybe at the end of the day when you lay down in bed, and be a quick spot check. I think it's important that take little baby steps too. If it's overwhelming, or like, I don't have time to sit there for 30 minutes and meditate. Or
I will say that mindfulness and meditation, when I am consistent with it during the month of December, it's super helpful.
Yeah.
I am less bitchy about December in general. So I find that I'm more open. I see more of the positive, magical things.
Less stress.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do tend toward anxiety. So I have to set my intention for sure.
Yeah.
To mindfulness
in
order to get in that state.
To mindfulness.
I have to be mindful to mindfulness. So much mindfulness. Well, is there anything else you want to share?
No, I think we've...
All right. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening.
We'll talk next time.
Yep.
Okay.
See you later.
Bye-bye.